Hi there. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to open a few products today. I've started playing the Pokemon Pocket app, like I mentioned in the last video or 2 videos ago. And with Pokemon Day coming up, like next week, I think, I'm thinking I'm going to hit up a little, competition and see what's up. And I'm kind of lazy, and I kind of want it just to be like a deck that's pre-made, even though I'm sure that will affect how good I do. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. I just want to try it out. I just want to see the vibes. I just want to see what's going on. So we have this Trainer's Toolkit, the blue one. We have this Build and Battle, and we have this deck. It's like it's V Battle deck. And I'll have to also make sure that, it's allowed. I know some things are allowed, some things are not allowed. But anyway, so we'll do this one first because I think this is going to be like the least interesting, and then we'll do the Trainer's Toolkit, and then we'll do the Build and Battle last. Also, you can see here, so this says play level 1, and it has 1 Pokeball. This says play level 2, 2 Pokeballs out of 3. So I don't really know, but we'll find out. Okay, and while we do this, I want to talk about an incident that happened in Japan to children when they all got, not all, but a lot of kids spontaneously got a seizure or experienced a seizure. So we're going to talk about that. Let's look at what's in here first. Okay. A ready to play deck, 3 reference cards, rules, play mat, damage counters, metallic coin, deck box, strategy, and a code deck. That's the other thing too, is there are 2 Pokemon, that's interesting, it's raised for some reason. There are 2 Pokemon trading card game apps. Pocket's the new one, and this is the older one, and the older one I believe is more like the real deal because the Pocket is a little bit different. I don't think it's massively different, but it is different. And then it also has how many things are in it, so you could tell specifically like how many of each of these Pokemon are in it. So let's go ahead and open this up. And it has again, it's from Pokemon Go, and people crap on Pokemon Go all the time, so. But this is one of those things that's available not everywhere. Like when I go into stores, I don't see anything. Like I literally don't see anything. I will go around and go into stores knowing that I'm not going to find anything, and then I don't find anything. So like the shelves are bare for sure. Okay, so let's start off. Let's go back in time. It's 6:30 p.m. on December 16, 1997. Children all around Japan. I'm going to actually keep... This is a smart move I'm doing. There's a code card behind here. I'm not going to give it to you because I should use this code card in this app, and then I can practice with this if it's still allowed. Again, I'll get to that, but I'm hiding that, okay? But this is the card that was on the front cover, okay? Then we have this. Okay, this is the deck box. I hear my cat in the background. I hope you can't hear her. So here is, nope, see, I think yellow is not allowed, or if it is, it's not to be for soon. It's not going to be good soon. Yeah, I don't think this is good, but that's okay. I have other options. I have quite a few of these Build and Battle, so I have some options to play with here. But I'm still going to look at it. Well, okay. Sorry. I should show it to you, huh? So we have these guys. Right, and this should match what was on the box. That would check out, right? Okay. So, again, we're in Japan. It's 1997. We're sitting down in front of the television. Okay? It is episode 38 of the Pokemon cartoon. And we're excited because this episode is called Deno Senshi Porygon, or in English, Computer Warrior Porygon. Porygon is the Pokemon's name. Okay, I watched the episode research, right? Sometimes when you do research, you get to watch fun things. So I watched this episode. I didn't look too hard at like Hulu and stuff. But if you just Google it, you will find it. Again, just, beware, because that's why we're talking about the stories, because there was a problem. Okay. So just, again, beware, please. Basically the plot, there we go, there's the word. Basically the plot for this episode is that the main characters get shrunken down. Okay, so these are the reference cards. So that's good. So it's a little cheat sheet for yourself when you're like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to do, or like what happens when that happens, right? And then I guess these are the damage counters. So you can keep track better of how much damage is on your Pokemon. And these have expired a very long time ago. Look, 2023, so sorry about that. What have we got here? Melmetal. Okay, that's the one I have. I didn't get the Mewtwo one. Not on purpose. This one was on sale. And then we have... Oh, okay, so this is the mat. So here's something I can point out to you. Again, I don't know. I'm new here. But... So the bench here has 5 cards. And in the Pokemon TCG Pocket, there's 3. And there's the active spot. And then there's prize cards. In the Pocket app, there's no prize cards. And also in the physical ones, you have to have energy cards. But in the Pocket app, there's no energy cards. You automatically get one. So that is something I really need to look into. Like, how does that function? So I'll read this for sure, because I'm a nerd. And then it comes with this little metallic coin, they say. Oh, what is it? Just an extra piece of plastic, I guess. They say metallic, but I guess because it looks metallic, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so that was that. Again, a little bit, I don't want to say underwhelming, but, kind of straightforward stuff. No surprises here. Let's put it that way. No surprises, right? So let's just put this back like that. I need my computer not to fall asleep because my notes are on there. I did my research, guys. I have notes. Okay. So let me put this on to the side. This stuff, and then we're going to open up this trainer's toolkit. Okay. So back to what we were saying. Okay. There was, in this episode, they shrink down, they go into a computer, and then there's a computer virus. And so they have to go in there and try to solve the problem. Also, what is the toolkit and what does it include? More than 50 useful cards, more than 100 energy cards, 4 booster packs, so we'll see what kinds. Sleeves, deck builder's guide, complete rule book. Sweet. Okay. And I forgot what year this is. You can find a few of these and they're from different years. I just bought, again, the one that was on sale. So there you go. Look at how many warnings. This is how many, look at how many ways you can say small parts. Kleine Tiere. And then a bunch that I can't even begin to pronounce. Okay. Let's see what we have here. So, yeah, the problem with that episode happens about 20 minutes in, where a vaccine, or it's an antivirus. It's an antivirus software, but the way that it's translated was like a vaccine, which was kind of funny. So, a lot of kids were watching this show at the same time. It's a very popular show, right? And, when you go to school the next day, you want to be able to talk to all your friends about it. So, what happens is, around the same time, about 6:50, so the kids, sat down in front of their television screen at 6:30, for the 6:30 start of the show, right? And then by 6:50, so let's look at this is the rules. So you see here, energy cards. It doesn't really go that much into detail about that. At 6:50, during that episode, about 700 people, and it was mostly kids, experienced a seizure. And there was a variety of intensities and stuff like that. And some of those kids did have pre-existing known seizures. Okay, and in this case, so not all seizures are the same. This was specifically photosensitive epilepsy. Some kids, before this episode happened, like it was known, like they had that happen to them before, so it was known. However, it seems like when I was looking at the research, it seems like the vast majority of the people who did experience this had never had a seizure before. Okay, so why did this happen? Well, again, when the vaccine was working, when the antivirus software was working, they did a animation technique that they hadn't used before. Again, this was episode 38, but they had never had, I don't want to say a mass casualty incident, but that's kind of what it was. Vivid voltage. Again, this is the blue one. Oh, and chilling rain. Okay. Vivid voltage. I don't remember what price. I know this is like, these are sought after. It's chilling rain ones. I may have opened them before, but just a couple probably. Okay. And what else do we have here? Band-Aids and poison. Okay. Unsure about that. Here, I'll just give you this. And I'll give you this one too, if you want it, because again, I don't think they're regulation anymore. Then we got the sleeves, okay. And then we have our block. No, this is our block of energy. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. And then here's the deck itself. So let's go ahead and, I see the pull tab here. Okay. So again, when the virus when the antivirus or vaccine were working in the cartoon, the way that they showed it, like the way that they were animating it, was that, okay, and we have a Black Star promo, neat. Okay. I actually bought that one the other day. Interesting. What was happening was the technique that they were using was this flashing lights, and they were flashing red and blue. And in the paper that I read, which I'll put in the description, they said that it was alternating red and blue frames at 12 hertz for 4 seconds. And apparently that is the right frequency and the right amount of time to create a glitch in the human brain. Like literally from again, doing a little bit of digging. I didn't dig too much into seizures. It sounds like we still don't know that much about seizures, like specifically. There are theories and stuff. But like that was one of the first things the guy said when I was watching a lecture on the topic, because again, I'm a nerd and I just was curious. But that was like one of the first things that he said was like, there's a lot of things that we don't know. And I thought that was refreshing to hear a doctor say that, and very interesting, because a lot of times we do think that doctors just know everything, and that is simply not the case. So again, it was like the right frequency, it was the right amount of time, and it caused seizures in a lot of people who, again, had never encountered this before. Now, I've said this to my class a million times, like, when it comes to stuff like, well, laws, okay, when it comes to laws, for instance, the reason why there's a law is because something happened. So, drunk driving, for instance. Drunk driving was not illegal until, I'm sure, like, there was a problem with people dying because there were people who were getting drunk. That's neat. Okay, the energy. Then we have, I get so confused when I don't understand this. If somebody can help me understand why in some of the older some of the older packs, you have the energy not at the back. Like, I don't understand. There's probably a reason. I just don't know what it is. Okay, so we got a V, which is nice. And that, look at that menacing thing. I don't know how to describe it. But those red eyes, man, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. Okay, then let's open our other Vivid Voltage. So yeah, drunk driving wasn't illegal until it became a big enough problem to warrant making, a law against it. When this happened, there was a lot of, it was a big problem. Think about it. If everybody's seemingly spontaneously has seizures all at the same time, there's a lot of big questions. A lot. And obviously you want to make sure that never happens again. And so there was investigations by multiple different organizations in, here's this. And then I think it was 4 from the back. So we will see. Yes, I did it right. Okay. There were investigations by TV Tokyo, which was the channel that broadcasted this episode, the National Association of Commercial Broadcasters, the Ministry of Health and Welfare, the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications, and the Japan Epilepsy Society. And I guess Pokemon, the show, was put on hold for 4 months while they were trying to... We got 2 lucky? We got 2 packs and we got lucky in both packs? We got a Rainbow VMAX, Gigantamax, Nito. That has 1 star. This one? Oh, it does. It's just hard to see, but it does. Neat. Wow, 2 for 2, man. I'll accept it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Is it supposed to look like a UFO? Or is it supposed to look like a mushroom? Or what is happening? Unknown. Okay, let's open up these 2. Okay. So yeah, they did research, I guess, for about 4 months to figure out what happened. What is the way to make this never happen again? And it was, again, pretty serious. I looked it up again. I'll give you the research article in the description. They said that about 200 patients were admitted to the hospital and 2 were admitted for more than 2 weeks. That's a long time. 2 weeks in the hospital is a long time. And for something as relatively, I don't want to say minor, because anything having to do with your brain glitching is not, great. But 2 weeks in the hospital for that is very intense. Now, like I said, this was episode 38 and they've never had any problems. And here's the boy that we're talking about here. This is Porygon. It was built 20 years ago by scientists who dreamed of exploring space. Their dreams have yet to come true. Well, that's a bit disappointing, isn't it? This is Porygon. This is the character that they were traveling with. I'm not going to spoil it, but they were traveling with in the episode. Porygon. Again, this guy's in the name. I imagine that's when they introduced the character. I'm not super certain. So this episode, like I said, used a technique that they had never used in the other episodes, which is why it wasn't a problem previously. And it specifically said, so nothing interesting here, but we do have the man of the hour. So we'll just leave him up top. And then we have the last Chilling Reign here, but again, I do have Twilight Masquerade, which we're going to open up in a second as well. So to quote this research paper, okay, it says this episode had a previously unused computer graphic technique where there was a light flickering, where there was a flicker series ranging from 0.05 to 4 seconds with alternating red, white, and blue light and red, blue light, creating mostly a 12 hertz display. Okay, so we're talking, I'm my understanding, okay, is that when they're talking about hertz, they're probably talking about like I think hertz are wavelengths, right? And specifically, there was a scene where around like 6:50 in the afternoon, in the evening, so about 20 minutes into the episode, there was a moment where these red and blue frames alternated at 12 hertz, lasting for 4 seconds, and that was when most of the seizures occurred. So again, this was like, again, I don't want to say a mass casualty, okay, because I need to look up what the word casualty means. I think that means that you could be injured, not just killed, because obviously people weren't killed here, thank God. But it was a pretty major event, okay, where it's happening simultaneously. Again, that is just bizarro. So one of the bits of research that they did, because again, this was researched by many different organizations. Okay, one of the organizations was the Ministry of Health and Welfare, and they made a study team. So, and that's the other thing too, is that this research article that I was reading, I don't know if it was like translated from Japanese into English. I think it probably was, because it seemed, some of the words seemed kind of weirdly translated, like study team. But their study team had 14 experts, and they sent out a little over 9,000 questionnaires to kids who were 6 to 18 years old, because that was the main demographic of who was watching that show. Now, out of those 9,000, about 44% had watched the show. Okay, so do 44% of 9,000, and that was about the amount of useful questionnaires that they received. Okay, so this comes in the build and battle. We have this building tips, okay, and a card list that tells you at the bottom whether rare, double rare, whatever. And then we have 4 booster packs and a deck with a stamped promo. So again, you see a Black Star promo, and you see the Twilight Masquerade stamp on there. So it looks the same as other versions except for the stamp, and the stamp makes it more valuable, I guess. Okay, so let's just open up the packs. Let's keep that the way it is. Okay. Now, again, there was 9,000 surveys sent out, a questionnaire survey, right? 9,000 were sent out. About 44 had watched the episode. That sounds about right for stats when it comes to sending out a questionnaire and hoping that people bring it back and that it's relevant to them. Okay, out of that 44%, so let's just round it to like 4,000 or something. I'm bad at math. Okay, out of those 44%, let's do it like this. Okay. Out of the 44%, 10.4% of those had acute symptoms, meaning not a seizure, but other symptoms, okay, such as ophthalmia, which I had to Google, which is inflammation of the eye, which is kind of interesting. And that happened in 40%. I think 40, 50, 60. I'm not sure. I got a little bit confused when it came to, does this have a card trick? No, it doesn't. Okay. I was getting kind of confused when I was reading it. I wasn't sure. They had percentages with them, but I wasn't sure if that was of the 10% who had acute symptoms or what. I was just kind of confused. But anyway, a fair amount of people had inflammation of the eye. Inflammation is like swelling or redness. 11% So again, I don't really understand what these percents mean, but just so that you can maybe figure it out. 11% had fixation to the screen. 10% had persistence of vision, and 9.4% had blurry vision. Look at this artwork. That looks aggressive. And this is an A spec, which I know they're going to be taking out soon. Hyper aroma. Okay. But nothing else interesting in there. But they got this cutie. Come on, man. That's cutie. Okay. General discomfort. Okay, out of the 44, this one's pretty clear to me, I hope. 40 out of the 44% of that 9,000 who watched the episode, of those, 33% complained of general discomfort when watching the episode. 29.5 cited headache or confusion. I don't know why they put both of those in the same category, because headache is one thing, confusion is a different level of severity in my opinion. And then 14% had nausea, meaning that they were going to like throw up. That's pretty severe. And then when it comes to the seizure-like symptoms, okay, I had to Google again because it said palpebral myoclonus. And I was like, what does that mean? I know that myo means muscle, but I didn't. And palpebral is like maybe palpations or something. And it was kind of like that. Twitching or spasming eyelids. That happened in 37 of the respondents, which is about 8.9%. So you can do the backwards math there. Convulsion of the extremities, meaning like your body or your arms and legs and things. And then unconsciousness in 24. That's interesting. Setting. That's the word I was looking for. Interesting. What is this? Sometimes these just like confuse me. Talk about confusion. Yeah, and again, to have a seizure to the point of unconsciousness must be quite severe. I thought that was really insane. And I also put in my notes here, in their analysis, the study team commented that a total of 56 or 13.4% had symptoms supportive of epileptic seizures out of the 4,026 viewers they had gathered data from. They also pointed out that the Pokemon Seizure, they literally used this phrase, Pokemon Seizure, as different because it's like different from having epilepsy. Like it's different from having a condition. This was a specific situation in which seizures occurred, and therefore they called it the Pokemon Seizure, which is fascinating. They said that the Pokemon seizure rate is higher than the active epilepsy prevalence rate of 0.5% among the general population. Further, some other things that were interesting to me in this research article was, or report or journal article, whatever you want to call it, that there was an 11-year-old girl who had, and again, here's where this weird translation comes into play. This is literally what the report says. Girl who had hallucination in the right visual field followed by muscular cramp on the right face and aphasic speech arrest. Okay, I know from teaching AP psychology that aphasia is when like you can't make words. There are different types of aphasia, and a lot of times aphasia comes with a stroke, that a person can't make the words come out, or they're saying just gibberish, but they're very fluent, but it's just like a baby's gibberish where you know that they're saying stuff, but it does not make sense. That's a type of aphasia. And then just simply not being able to find the words, that's also another type of aphasia. So again, that was an 11-year-old kid who was having hallucinations, had a muscle cramp on her, like half of her face. So it was like she was practically having a stroke, which is really wild. So after they did all this research, right, and again, their goal was, how do we, like, we need to understand what happened, and we need to understand how can we make this never happen again. So what they did was they made guidelines. And apparently a few years before this incident, Britain had already put some of these guidelines into place. So here's some of the guidelines that they put into place, okay? Images or flickering, especially vivid red flickering of more than 3 hertz, should be avoided. Now, note that I had said previously 12 hertz. They say don't go more than 3. So, you know, that makes sense. Like, that checks out for how... Is that a reverse hollow? Yeah, I think it is. That checks out of how really intense this was that now the guidance says 3 hertz when they were at 12. That is 4 times the amount that apparently they should have been in. They also said, in the case of non-red images, flickering of more than 5 hertz is prohibited. Again, they were at 12. Okay, the brightness variation should be less than 20%. You know what? I have a loose pack of prismatic evolutions off to the side. Let's just go ahead and open that because I have a little bit more to say, but not a lot. So let's just open up one random pack of Priziev. Okay. They also said the brightness variation should be less than 20%. If you're the type of person who really understands light waves and stuff like that, then the link that I'm going to put in the description is all for you. I skipped that part. But I wanted to put in these guidelines because it helps you understand some of the severity, okay? They also said that the duration of the flickering should be less than 2 seconds. Again, they were at 4 seconds instead of 2, and they were at 12 hertz instead of 3. So, yeah. Reversal of contrasting images and rapid conversion of images should be fewer than 3 per second. So it's not only about a certain color flashing, it's also about the fact that there are images. And specifically, it says strips, whirls, and concentric circles should not occupy a large part of the screen. So I thought that was interesting. And then I have the last bit of it, which is kind of ending on a weird note. Okay, in this article, they say that there's recommendations of TV viewing, okay? It says, watch TV at a distance of more than 2 meters, aka like 6 feet. Watch TV in a well-lit room. Don't watch images that occupy the whole TV screen. Manipulate TV images with a remote control while sitting at some distance. Cover one eye with your hand when you notice flickering TV images. Avert your eyes from TV images when you feel something is wrong. And don't watch TV for prolonged periods of many hours. And then, this is the weirdest. I was just like, it's funny if you're immature. It's funny. And I really want to know why they put this in here because there's probably a reason for this. But it says, don't watch TV in poor physical conditions such as insufficient sleep, fatigue, and wait for it, constipation. I don't know why they said constipation. Wow, that was a big old bust, bro. Oh, wow. Okay. So we got this Fluttermane, and then we have this Kieran reverse hollow, and this Duskull reverse hollow. And then we have this one, which I know people say is a good playing card. Terra Pokemon in play can have up to 8 Pokemon on their bench. If a player no longer has any Terra Pokemon in play, that player discards Pokemon from their bench until they have 5. When this card leaves play, both players discard Pokemon from their bench until they have 5, and the player who played this card discards first. That sounds very complicated. I'd have to look that up. I don't really understand that. Okay, so that was an $8 bust. My goodness gracious. But that's a pretty fun fun art there. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And also when it comes to Terra, this is that. Terra. So when they look like crystally, that's that. I know people like Greninja. I don't know if this is worth anything. So, we got hit and miss. Some things were great, some things were not. Again, I'll have to look into what is allowed to be played and what isn't. And I know that it's dependent on the little letter down at the bottom. So this one has H, for instance, and I know that I know these are getting phased out. And this is E, and I think that I don't know if anything that has a yellow border is still playable. But again, this is going to be something I look up. But yeah, so I'm going to put the research article that I read that goes way more into the science, if you're interested. But I'm going to leave you with that tip that they said, right, is to not watch TV when you're constipated, because maybe you'll have a seizure or something. I don't really know. I don't understand how those two things are related, but they put it in there for a reason, I suppose. And I just don't understand what that reason is. So that was the story of, what is the episode called? It is called Deno Senshi Porygon. Deno Senshi Porygon. I'm trying to do my Duolingo. Computer Warrior Porygon. Wild, weird, very weird pop culture phenomenon that when I first heard about it, I was like, that cannot be true. That must be an urban legend. There's no way. And then I Googled it and I was like, oh my God, it's real. The truth is stranger than fiction. You could not make that up. If I made that up, you would be like, no one would believe that. But it wasn't made up. It was real, and it actually did happen. And perhaps some of those kids were constipated. I don't really understand. But I suppose I suppose that the overall lesson here is to eat more fiber. So please comment on this video if you have any suggestions or any insights into anything. And let me know what you'd like to hear about and what I can teach you about. Definitely do have a little list, but I'd like to add more, so please let me know. And other than that, let's see what happens next.